And good evening, everybody. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 5 of the Futsal Philippines Show, the most exciting online futsal show on the internet today. This show is brought to you by the Henry V. Moran Foundation. My name is Kevin Goko. I'm your co-host, and I'm joined here again by Mr. Roy Moore. Good evening, Roy.
Hi, Kevin. Pleasure to be back. How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I think, Roy, we need to change that profile pic of you when we open the show. I see you wearing an England shirt. It looks like you look like a grumpy England fan who just lost a penalty shootout there. And,
well, it happens every couple of years.
yeah. So, Roy, exciting developments with the High Five Futsal League. Your thoughts so far on what has happened? There have been some very exciting matchups, some surprising upsets, and some intriguing matches this coming weekend.
Yeah, the highlights will be really interesting again to go through. Some results that we didn't see coming, some results maybe we did see coming. But what's been really impressive is that everyone's been improving. Every team out there has been improving since day one, and the teams that you thought would get smashed every week, they're really stepping up and they're challenging some of the teams who beat some of the preseason favorites. So it's great to see that development.
Well, that's the exciting part about this league. Some matchups you think, or some results that would go certain ways, teams would actually surprise you. And we had some of that last Saturday. So we'll go through those games in a bit. But we had a few upsets from match day 3, and that really mucked up the whole table. I think we had something like GK was number 1 with 7 points, and then we had a few other clubs, including yours, Payatas FC, all tied for second with 6 points. And it's really a matter of goal difference. And then after this past week, the league table was still a bit complicated.
Yeah, it was like five teams were separated by just 1 point. And it's still, without giving any spoilers, the top six teams, I think there's only 3 points between them all. So it's so tight for those top four spaces.
So definitely, I mean, in match day three, we actually saw preseason favorite Tuloy FC actually lose a game.
Mm.
Many people thought that they would not lose in this league, given the type of players that they had, given it's their home court or home facility, and given that they've been playing pretty much all throughout the pandemic.
Mm.
So we saw them lose actually to University of Makati, who wasn't at that time at the top of the table. And then we also had another surprising result. I won't remind you again what
Yeah.
happened there, but that definitely surprised me because I didn't think the GK Sipag team was mature enough to take on your season signing Payata. So after a few upsets in match day three, we now go to our match day four. So we begin our day with the top of the table clash. So after defeating Payatas last week, Gawad Kalinga Sipag FC started match day four top of the table, and they faced Tuloy FC, who was
Mm.
behind them by 1 point second. So this was a top of the table clash. So let's take a look at the highlights from that first game between GK Sipag and Tondo, and sorry, not Tondo, and Tuloy FC.
I think their performance today is quite different from they showed up last week. Um, I think the spirit, the heart, that's what we lack on our game today. Because last week, even if I'm not here, even if I'm watching from Bohol, I can still feel how they talk, how they really want to win that game. But I think for today, the eagerness to win is not there for them. And also, problem inside the game. Is our finishing. If we just converted a lot from the first 10 minutes of the match in the second half, maybe we can like turn around the the momentum. But yeah, I think we need to go back to the coaching board to really get better for the next 3 games that we still have. Um, yeah, our campaign in the league right now is we're still good. I think we can still be in the in the top four, but I still for us, for the players, that I always tell that to focus on development and giving them experience on what is the real league all about. The best players in all over the country, or here in Metro Manila. And yeah, I think we're still good, right? We're still in good ranking right now, but I think moving forward is we need to be better, more on as a team, playing as a team, and yeah, that eagerness to always win every match, and talk to um, talk those like problems personally with them. I think we need to really address that right now, because I think there are some problems inside the teams, and yeah, and also need to be in shape again. For us, what I always say for to them is at least 1 or 2 players from us, at least can have a tryout in the national team. In the league, as I said with our program head at Ibing, we do not focus on if we will be the champion or the first runner up, second runner up. We're just here to compete, um, compete like have them compete yung mataas na level, and also have them an experience on what could be it like if you're in the national team. So in the league, we don't have like the target to be the top four like that. But if we will be in the top four, that would be a blessing or a gift for us.
Sa performance ko po siguro po madami pang masyadong kailangang i-improve like shootings, and then yung one to pass, yung move and ano po. And then yung sa team po namin siguro yung passing, yung releasing ng bola, and yung last touch.
We will we will try our best maging top one, and then the best best futsal club here in the Philippines.
Okay. And last question. What is your target for the rest of the season?
Uh, Yun nga po, gusto po namin mag top 1 and then maging champion po.
So that top of the table clash wasn't really a clash of two top teams, as Tuloy showed their class, and I guess their vastly superior experience versus GK Sipag. Roy, your take on that game?
Yeah, I don't think many of us saw 9-1 coming. It was definitely, at least in the scoreline, it wasn't so competitive. I can't remember if I said it on the show last week, but you don't want to play Toloy after they've lost a game. They're going to be fired up and ready to come at you for the next guy, and they really showed that here. I mean, 9-1. It started competitive though. I remember watching both teams getting chances. Toloy were just much more clinical. I mean, compared to the game last week where they missed so many clear chances, they just put them away this time. But you got to say, it was only 2-0 at half time. Both chances had some decent half chances. Ivy, GK's goalkeeper, made some good saves early on. If we go to picture one, though, GK had a habit on their goal clearance of the goalkeeper here, Ivy. She just keeps putting it at the feet of Rendell. And with Toloy's press, this is where I think the game was won and lost. We'll see later on with Toloy, they get their goalkeeper involved and create that 5 versus 4. Whereas right now, Rendell just has no option to pass. So you look at Toloy's press, you've got all three of them are on the front foot, ready to pounce on them. Whereas for GK, there's no option for Rendell, the anchor, that defender for GK. So GK can press high and win the ball there. And it puts GK under pressure for the whole of the game when you set up in this way. And so the first goal, Yeah, so at this time, Toloi really pressed. They won the ball, had another shot, and Ivy saved. Um, the flip side of this is that it's also dangerous for Toloi. Like if the right winger here, if GK's right winger here gets into the space, if the forward of GK, if she gets in between the two pressing forwards there, if you pass between the lines, if you've got a really good passer and really solid movement, you've just broken the pressing line and you're in on 1v1 or 2v1 against Toloi's defense. And so it's a bit of a dangerous style for Toloi when they come up against really strong teams, but they were able to overwhelm GK in these ones. If we go to picture 2, so from Toloi's first goal, it comes from some nice play. Toloi involved the goalkeeper, as I said, so they create that overload when the press comes on. But here again, you see that press. You see GK have no options to pass. Toloi have smothered them, and so they win the ball. The ball is passed into the center there. They create, essentially, for a split moment, they create a 3v1, and they're easily good enough to pass through that and to score from there. So that's 2-0 at half time, but it's still competitive. GK had their chances, as Coach Chester said, they just didn't put them away. And so GK started the second half well, and it sounds weird to say, but GK were the better team for that opening few minutes, the opening maybe 7 or 8 minutes before they scored again, before Toloi scored again. They had a couple of 1v1 chances, and if you score there, it's 2-1 instead of 3-0, and you've still got a good foothold in the game. If we go to picture 3, this is where Toloi's third goal comes from, though. And it was actually GK's chance. It was from a corner. It's a bad corner. But the corner's won. It's Lizzie who is played in, creating the overload again, and she forces a good save from the keeper. The corner is just passed essentially to Toloi's defenders, and they break straight away, and it's just that desire to get into the box. Here it's Isabella Bandoja. She's up against Rendell. She's got the skill just to break past her, and it's a really good finish from her. And that's the margin. You go from having the chances to come back in the game 2-1 to 2 versus you're now 3-0 down and the game's gone. And so Toloi, the floodgates just opened. It was 6 goals in 6 minutes. And yeah, it finishes 9-1 in the end.
Yeah, thanks, Roy, for that analysis. When you look at the way Toloi plays, they press so high.
Yeah.
It's just begging, because I've been seeing them play every week. It's just begging for a team to really come up with that strategy or that play to break that first line. And as you said, Toloi just plays with one defender at the back. She plays in the opponent's half. So if you can get past that first line of pressure, you can put Toloi in a lot of danger if you're able to.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's also fair to say Toloi have a deeper squad. So I think this was a big difference between why GK are competitive at the start of the half and then why it kind of falls apart at the end of the half is Toloi have a squad that they can rotate and they've got almost the same level of quality throughout. And it's that intensity they put. If you're GK, like we saw in the pictures, you have to create that space and that intensity every single time you have the ball. And that takes a lot of time and energy and it takes a lot out of you. So by the time the GK bring on their second and their third string players, they're just not up to the same level as the Toloi players. I think there's some teams, mine included, where you've got some real star players who are really strong, but then the second and the third teams are just at a different level right now. They might be a bit younger or a lot less experienced. Whereas Toloi, they have runners throughout the entire 40 minutes, and that's where they're going to wear you down. And that's where you see a lot of Toloi's goals are coming in that last 5-10 minutes of each half.
Well, you look at their second string, their forward, or their pivot. Bandoja is actually in football a 2-time Golden Boot winner, meaning she was the top scorer of the PFF Women's League in football for 2 years in a row, and she's coming off the bench, backing up Mary Joy de la Cruz. So it's a loaded lineup, but I feel with the way Toloi plays, they can be countered if a team properly prepares for that. Also, looking at how GK played after the third goal, they just basically gave up, and so it's a shame, but I guess that comes with an experience, and I'm looking forward to see how GK bounces back, and if Toloi can sustain this momentum, because if there's one thing that I notice about Toloi, they can get relaxed
Mm.
after they create some momentum in the league. So that top of the table clash didn't go so well for GK, but went very well for Tuloy. That put Tuloy top of the table. So we go to our second match. That is between Tondo and yours truly, Payatas FC. So let's take a look at those highlights.
Well, I'm happy na ganito yung performance nila up until the end. Naglalaro sila ng maayos. Although we're lacking of players, we have two players who are crucial part of the team who are absent today. And nag-adjust yung mga players, and I'm happy na those who are in the squad for today performed well up until the end. Pinakita nila na yung fighting spirit nila, yung character nila is there and present up until the end ng game. Well, I'm happy to say na yung campaign namin is doing better, and we are seeing a lot of community members who are supporting these girls. We are trying to make an impact in our community through this league, and we're showcasing our culture of play, and pinapakita ng mga bata, ng mga girls kung paano talaga maglaro ng futsal dito sa liga na to. And we're happy na some of the younger players who are supporting there are getting more influence, and they're making like an inspiration for these girls. And yung campaign namin is so far it's getting better. The girls are more, they have more of the character that we wanted, the fighting spirit and the way they communicate now. Before we started, like yung campaign namin is more on we're suffering sometimes, and then right now they're parang inspired na sila to continue training, to continue working hard together, and to continue making an impact for our community. Well, we wanted, of course, not only winning the game, we're also targeting to win the hearts of our supporters and be proud of these girls. And as a coach, I'm really happy, and I'm really proud what these girls are doing, despite of all the challenges that they're having, despite of the busy schedule that they're having. They're committed to do it, and hindi lang naman na ipapakita yung panalo dun sa game. Naipapakita din na
whenever these girls are walking in this kind of tournament, they're proud to tell a story that will inspire other people.
uh, we start strong po. So, I'm happy with that. And yung girls is naglaro talaga kami with puso nung first half. Uh, nagkulang lang kami sa second half sa communication part and yan napagod yung mga players namin na pang front players namin and yun. Kailangan po talaga mag-training kami sa kayatos pa ng fitness and yung mga skills ko po. So far po, it's our fourth game na po. So, 14? Third game. Fourth game. Yeah. And we are happy so far sa mga results na nakukuha namin. And yes, and lahat naman po ng mga pagpunta namin dito, is lagi kami may natututunan and pinokorek namin siya sa training namin. And ayun po, we're still learning and we keep improving po ulit. I will be lying kung sinabi ko po na like hindi sa championship or sa finals. Pero more than that, yung gusto po talaga namin ipakita is yung mga players namin sa Payatas, we all have potentials po to alam mo yun, mag-develop ng skills and yung advocate namin na mas maging healthy yung mga players namin at the same time po magkaroon ng pangarap sa buhay. Yun po yung pinaka-importante sa amin sa pagsali namin sa league po na to and mag-improve po para sa goal namin in the future sa mga players namin, varsity team or national team po. So, yun po, more than winning.
So Payatas, winners 6-3. Congratulations, Roy, on that. How was the match from your point of view? I know you weren't there and you were watching at home probably, but
yeah, thanks, Kevin. Yeah, it's very frustrating watching from home. I'll say that. It's obviously I wasn't there. It was my last day of quarantine from COVID before, and overall I was screaming at the computer over here. It was a really frustrating game for many reasons. In my opinion, it should have been much more comfortable for us. And credit to Tondo for making it uncomfortable, especially in that second half. The teams know each other well. As I said last week, I think if you shut down Lei Ikong, you shut down Tondo as a team, and we did that well at the beginning. So if we show the first picture from this set, we've got the high press up on Tondo. Tondo always tried to play out of the back really deep, and if they make a poor dribble or a poor pass, here Nicole gets a touch on the ball, AJ finishes the tackle, and immediately we can do this 1-2. AJ gets to the back post and really should have scored. And that was kind of the tale of the first half. We really pressed them. We had so many chances like that where we could have killed the game, and we didn't kill it early. Tondo couldn't break through our press at this point, and it was a game that we could have finished off in that first half. So the first goal was some nice quick passing. It's a long shot from Nicole. You've got to say that you'd expect your goalkeeper to save that normally, and I think it shows the value in doing goalkeeper-specific training. So as teams level up, they're going to start to specialize the training as well. So it's another thing that as you start to improve, you've got to think about with your training has to get more and more specialized. But where I think we improved from last week was the passing. So if you go to picture 5, so the next one, Ronaldin sees this through ball. We straight in on there, and we can take advantage of these ones. Thea, one of the best players in the league, in my very biased opinion, should be scoring this, but she hits it at the keeper. Agot has a 1v1 soon afterwards, and she doesn't finish. And then in the next picture, Althea again intercepts the ball. It's a good interception. And from what I've seen, she's the best in the league at winning the ball and then immediately driving forward. She's really improved at this. We've worked on it. She draws the defender. She plays a 1-2 with Agot up top. And she's in the perfect position again to score and really kill the game. And if we get to 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, then the game's done and you can start to give more time and experience for the younger players. She scored a bunch already, but if Thea can be more clinical in those moments, then in my opinion, again, very biased opinion, she'll be the best player in the league. So this is where we could have killed the game. At 2-0 down, instead, Lei beats our substitute defender. She squeezes the ball into the goalkeeper and Lovely taps it in for 2-1. And now you can start to see the fight. The difference between 3-0 and 2-1, it's like Toloy and GK earlier. At 3-0, 4-0, the game's killed and you see the fight start to go out of the other team. But when it gets down to 2-1, they really start to fight. And so Tondo score again to bring it back to 3-2 when when Lei just decides to dribble through our entire defense and score. So it was a great individual goal from her. It's the best of her play. When it works, it's really good. When she loses the ball, that's where it's dangerous. And so that's the difficulty for Tondo to try to get the right balance. If we go to picture 8, Tondo equalized from here. Sorry, that was the previous one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So if we go to this picture here, this is the long-range free kick that Tondo equalized from. And watching this, you've got to be really frustrated as a coach. Our substitute goalkeeper, Annabelle, doesn't get our wall in the right position. They should never be scoring from this position. Lei sees the space. She hits it as hard as she can, and she takes advantage. And at 3-3, you've got momentum. You've got a fight. Fortunately, our girls responded well. Responded well. They kept creating chances. We scored 3 really quick fire goals to win the game. I got stepped up. She scored the 4th, assisted the 5th, put it on a plate for Nicole. Thea stole in ahead of her defender. She intercepts well, drives, and finishes it off for 6. So it was very fortunate that we were able to kill the game off at the end. But what I really want to see from our team is that we kill it off in the beginning of the game. We left it far too late. We gave a team like Tondo the chance. They made it uncomfortable for us, and our shooting was lacking in this case. Our passing improved, but the finishing wasn't there for us to really kill the game off. So credit to Tondo. They keep improving. They kept fighting. And on another day, they could have gone on and won that one.
Most definitely, Roy. And, Tondo has some very nice, talented players. Lei Ikong, although Dizon, the top scorer in the league, wasn't playing in this game. But, Ikong was fantastic. And I think she had a really good game today, given the fact that your team really focused on shutting her down. I think you made a good point with the way that Tondo plays. If you press them high and pressure, especially Ikong, then you can enjoy some success. But I think what many teams who pressure Tondo have to watch out for is that Ikong loves to drive forward once you commit your team up, and she's very good at reading that. For your team, Roy, you mentioned about killing the game earlier. How can you get because you mentioned that there's a drop off between your first line and your second line.
Yeah.
How do you see, or how do you get your second line to play up to par with your first unit?
Training. It's really that simple. Just training. It's really got to be pushing the intensity in training, not just for that, but the girls have really got to fight and play so intense in training. You've got to really see that fire. And sometimes when your first team have killed off the game already, if you're ahead 3-0, 4-0, for example, in the first week, then the second stringers are going to come in and they might be like, oh, the game's done, we can have fun and so on. And they're not getting the experience that they need from that. They need to treat it as if it's 0-0 and it's a separate game almost. One of the things that recently Ronaldin was fighting for with me was to have our boys team join in some of the women's team training sessions. And that was really good because they're obviously much faster and physically they're stronger. So it forced our girls to play a lot faster. It forced them to respond a bit quicker. And yeah, it's just that kind of training, that kind of intensity over an extended period of time. That's what we've got to see from our players. Their goal is to get it varsity scholarships, and we need them to commit every week. And it's been a good week for us this week in training, but you need that over months throughout the year and over the years, really.
Yeah, but I think your players are really good. They're playing well overall. Maybe just some inconsistencies throughout the match, because there are definitely peaks and valleys in terms of like your personal performance. And for Tondo, I mean, props to Coach Balbin, like Dennis Balbin. I remember seeing this group play during the Palaro Pambansa bubble last 2022, and they've really come a long way. The same team that I watched from before was really just all about shooting at goal once I get the first chance. But now I see they're really trying to instill a system or a culture of play, which is building up from the back. A lot of rotations, which is refreshing to see because in local Philippine futsal, we don't really see that much of rotations when teams play the sport here locally. So
yeah, for sure. It's a great point because what you see with Tondo is these are girls who have been with the same coach for years. Where if you look at a lot of teams, not just for women's football, but for men's football as well, they'll just shift between different teams, whatever league, whatever's going on. And so there's no consistency. So there's no real tactics or style or strategy that's built up over the time, because you need a lot of time to really develop that. So Tondo are a very young team, and that's really what you want to see with this group, that they just keep developing, keep getting experience, and keep getting better.
Yeah, and I definitely think they're going to be a force to reckon with down the line, 2 years, because many of these girls are still in high school and are still very young. Well, their forward, who is not playing in that game, is currently the top scorer in the league, with 8 goals. So congratulations to Tondo and their coaching staff and everybody behind that team for really having this group improve. So with that win, Payatas, I think ties. Nothing definitely happened. They tie Tuloy atop of the table, but just a difference in terms of goals, the goal difference. So before we go to our third match, let's take a commercial break.
For this game, so yes, we didn't get the result, the what we wanted. But if you evaluate or analyze all the game, it's very good. It's the girls is improving, but we have a lot of uh, improvement man na kailangan, especially when we in attacking zone. But yeah, definitely we're going to work out for that. Actually, for the first game after this fourth game, there's a lot, malaki yung improvement ng mga girls. Kasi if you can see the result, it's, alam mo yun, palesen ng palesen. So hopefully for our next game, we can get a draw. It's a good achievement already if we got a draw. Then yeah, there's, again, it's improving, it's improving. Yeah, my target talaga actually for this league is for my players to get exposure para for the next tournament namin, in our major tournament in our school, they can do better. Kung ano yung mga lapses na nagawa namin all through from the previous game namin. Help dito, ma-polish nila, ma-improve nila, ma-ano nila, ma-solve nila yung anong problema na yun. Actually, sa training namin, lahat ng mga kailangan naming i-correct, lahat ng mga corrections from the game, tinatry ko i-put into practice namin. So, hopefully the girls can bring it on the game itself.
Merong onting hindi pagkakaintindihan sa loob ng laro at na-scorean kami ng ganon. But the next game, baka maayos pa namin for that sa training po namin, baka maayos po namin at sana naman sa next game magkaintindihan kami. Yun lang hindi namin na intindihan sa both na magkakasama. Hindi kami nagkaintindihan. Yun lang. Um, ano, um, Maybe for me or for my teammates, we can like mag-usap. Mag-usap-usap kami and also like for the training, sa training namin, mag usap-usap din.
Honestly, I don't like the 1 o'clock schedule because apparently all my players, when they start off at the 1 p.m. game, I find them a bit sluggish. We started slow, and it was hard for them to really pick up the pace during the game. So, although I tried new players today, I just found it a bit slow. Even my 1 o'clock game last week was the same. That's why I'm not that thrilled about the 1 p.m. game. Actually, for the campaign of the team for University of Mahal, it's actually I place them in the league more to gain experience. The futsal program for the university hasn't really been. I think it's only this year that it's been full blast. For the past years, it hasn't really been in the forefront of movement in the university. Now, giving them more opportunities, more exposure, more games. I think slowly they've been getting the experience they need. The league is actually a very good uh, opportunity for them to show what they know, and of course, to be trained and continuously training will only help them in the future. For the season, of course, target of everybody is to be in the top. I do have two teams in the league, and the target is for always for them to be on top of the standings. But our priority is for them to learn from every game. We may lose games. We're okay with that. For me, it's more of a learning experience for all of them. Now, if we get the win, if we come out as the top team, then that's a bonus for us.
So that was an interesting matchup there. A lot closer than what I thought. I was surprised by the performance of Dr. J. Now these two teams, Roy, they know each other quite well. They regularly play against each other in the WNCAA. Of course, Dr. J Auto Club, for those of you who don't know, is primarily consisting of players from the University of Asia and Pacific. So these two teams know each other well. Your thoughts, Roy, on that match?
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think this game really shows how Dr. J as a club are improving. 2-1 against UMAC, who beat Toloy, is very respectable from where they've been going. Dr. J had some really good chances early on. Overall, it was a very even game. So either team could have won this one. Dr. J showed up more skill, better passing, overall technique than they have done in the previous games. So it's nice to see that. They hit the post a couple of times earlier on. If we show the first picture, UMAC tend to play on the counter a lot. So with the first picture from this game, you see that Salama here, she's just driven down. She beats her defender. And that's one thing with futsal that you need to quickly latch onto compared to football is if you beat one defender, you drive past one defender, you're suddenly in on goal and you create this chance. I think Dr. J's keeper, who overall had a really good game, I think she'll be a bit disappointed with letting this one in at the near post. But yeah, it put UMAC ahead. So when UMAC created other chances, she managed to keep them out and keep the score down for them. You look at the next picture. This is where Dr. J equalize, and UMAC won't be happy here because it's coming from their kick in, and it's just quite an aimless kick to the middle of the court, straight to Coach Marijan. She's driven forward into the space. What you really want to see here is that defender has come out to block the shot straight away. You need to get back into position straight away. And that line going to the top corner there, you want to see your goalkeeper on the line. So she's way too far to her left side. And that leaves that space for a very strong shot from Coach Jen to find the top corner. And then that's 1-1. Dr. J pushed forward again. They forced some good saves as well from UMAC's goalkeeper, but kept getting caught on the counter attack. So UMAC are a really interesting team in that way. They win the loose ball. It's a quick release for Alcantara, and it's a very nice finish. The Dr. J keeper had a very nice futsal spread there, goalkeeper stretch. But the UMAC forwards managed to find the bottom corner. It's a very good finish to win the game. So it's 2-1 at halftime, and it finished that way. For Dr. J, they've gone from 11-0 in the first game to holding UMAC to 2-1. Again, it shows their progress, and arguably they were better for large parts of this game. UMAC are quite an interesting team. So they gave Azuri a good game. They drew with GK. They beat Toloy, and they almost escaped with the win here. They're a very hot and cold team in a way. They have a real shot at top four. But again, they tend to play very defensively and passively at first, rather than we see Toloy or Payatas with the high press. They play quite passively at first and let the other team attack them and then try to hit them on the counter. And if you're the better team, if you're the favorite, you really want to flip the script and put the other team under pressure straight away. For UMAC, though, I mean, they want to finish in the top four, and they'll need probably 2 wins out of the next 3 games to do that. They'll face us tomorrow. They'll face Payatas tomorrow. Then it's Pangasinan and then Tondo. So they'll need probably 2 out of 3 to qualify for the semifinals.
Definitely. Thanks, Roy. It was a cracking goal from Coach Marijen Ariel, and she hit the top corner. And that reminded me of our discussion with Coach Vic last week, where he noticed that, if the balls if it's aimed high, the chances of scoring in futsal are actually higher than hitting it low. So, and I saw this last week. A lot of the teams that are aiming their shots low, the shots are actually saved by the keeper. I think the only exception to that is Dizon, because Dizon always shoots the shots low, but she still scores, right? But
yeah. The difference with Angelica there, she tends to hit the ball very quickly. She doesn't take the time on the ball. She gets the ball and she's poked it under the goalkeeper as soon as she can. And there's a difference there. Coach Jen here, this is a distant strike. So in my opinion, I'm not happy with the goalkeeper's position. She needs to get across so she can reach that. She needs to be on the right line. But it's a very good shot. And sometimes you're right, futsal goalkeepers tend to train the bottom saves, so the saves with the legs. And it's something that a lot of keepers need to improve on is diving to the top corner.
And, you brought up an interesting point. In this league, we're starting to see how different teams play. And looking at the University of Makati, I guess their style and identity is being a bit organized in the back and hitting teams on the counter. So you're going to be playing them tomorrow. And there's a very fast girl in Alcantara. I know her well because she was on the national team against Guam. So she's a very quick winger. And that's how they really try to absorb the pressure and hit you on the break. And I guess style makes games, and that is the perfect style against a team like Toloy. And I think that's how they were able to beat Toloy, is they just sat back. They were very organized. They knew Toloy loved to score on the second post, and then they would just hit them on the counter.
Yeah, if you've got the 2 different teams like UMAC and Toloy, it's a very pragmatic approach in those kind of games. And you can obviously see, like Coach Vic showed all the chances Toloy had, especially in the first half, that they really should have put away. But when you soak up that pressure, when you play on the counter attack like this, you always have a chance. As I say, the flip side of that is when you're against a team where you're the favorites, you really want to press the game more. You want to kill that game so that the other team doesn't have a chance. And if Dr. J had the shooters, they had the positions to score, but they don't have the best shooting technique to be able to get the ball in the net.
Yeah, definitely. But their team is improving, and they've surprised me since match day 1. So it was a very close game between UMAC and Dr. J. It's the WNCA derby where UMAC came up on top, 2-1. So we go to our final match of match day 4, which is between Azuri and Pangasinan United.
Yung performance po namin ngayon is challenging po kasi lahat po ng best namin ay binigay po namin, lalo po alam po namin na magaling po yung kinalaban namin, and proud po kami na maganda po yung kinalabasan ng game namin. Sabi ko lang po sa next game po namin mas porsigido pa po kami na manalo ngayon, lalo na po mas nakita po namin na kaya pa po namin humabol sa ranking.
Regarding sa team performance ngayon, so honestly, sinabi ko sa kanila na natutuwa ako kasi yung pag-uwi namin, last game namin, pag-uwi namin is nag-training din kami. Although ang training ground namin kasi naging football field since kailangan talaga namin yung laki ng court. Wala kasi sa amin sa Pangasinan na ganito kalaki. So, doon po kami medyo nahihirapan. So, after that training and siyempre yung zonal position nila na ano namin, kahit papano naibigay namin, and yung obligasyon nila individually lumabas din, although merong mga players na hindi ko siguro sa nervous din medyo nawawala pa, and meron ding mga nag-excel ngayon na ibang player. So overall, happy ako sa naging result kasi alam naman natin ang Azuri hindi naman siya ganun ka anong team, no? Talagang selection din siya. So malakas din yung team na yun. So yun po, masaya ako sa naging result kahit paano naka-draw kami. Sayang din yung last attempt. Yun yung pinaka-ano namin. Sa campaign namin ngayon, still maghahabol po kami and syempre ine-enjoy namin yung event kasi itong league na to talaga minsan lang po dumating sa amin, especially yung layo ng biyahe namin. So yung mga bata, tinatanong ko naman yan parati kung nag-enjoy ba sila or natututo ba sila, kasi yun yung mahalaga yung part na meron silang natututunan in every biyahe po namin na maglalaro sila, and syempre may naiuwi ba sila sa mga kasamahan nila sa mga pag-uwi nila sa kanya-kanyang lugar nila sa amin. Yan po. Kailangan pa po namin ng camaraderie and yun, yung training. Kailangan talaga namin na masolid pa yon. Kasi honestly po, every Sunday lang ang training namin. After here, uwi kami, going home. Then tomorrow morning, magta-training kami for siguro sa morning. Tapos mag-uwian na sila sa kanya-kanyang lugar nila. And pag Monday to Friday kasi may kanya-kanyang, yung iba may work, yung iba student. So, mahirap sa kalagayan namin. Pero still, may online kami kasi individually. Nag-online training sila or meron silang mga work na assignment na pinapatrabaho namin sa kanila. Naka-target namin talaga ngayon, tapusin yung game, tapusin yung event kasi honestly medyo ano kami, sa financially hirap pero sa support naman kahit papaano nagtutulungan kami kung paano kami makakalikom ng expenses namin financially namin kung kailan kami kung paano namin magagastos papunta rito. And yun, pinaka-target po talaga tapusin yung league, may matutunan yung league and I hope not only the players, including us, the coaches, matututo at meron kaming maiuwi and sana madala namin dun sa area namin ito, especially itong league.
So that was a surprising result, Roy, and I'm very happy for Pangasinan for finally getting points on the table with a draw against I would consider a favored Azuri squad.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is the surprise of the day for most of us. Pangasinan had lost all 3 games going into it. If we look at the first picture, I want to highlight again Azuri's press. So like their sister team, UMAC, their game plan was really to intercept Pangasinan's passes rather than try and force the turnovers. And it's a bit more passive to start out. When you're the favorite, in my opinion, you really want to be pushing against the other team. You want to force them to make the mistakes early. Here, Pangasinan, they have 2 options on the ball all the time, and it's going to make it difficult for yourself, and it's going to give Pangasinan the chance to build up. So they were given time and space on the ball to do that. Pangasinan scored first. There's arguably a foul in the build-up, a shoulder charge to the chest, and that gives Pangasinan the 2v1 on the right side. It's a good finish by Kupus, I think was the first scorer. And then at the next picture, I think the Azuri equalizer, I think here you see 4 versus 2, almost everyone in it's not just the third, it's the last quarter of Pangasinan's play. And this is the bit of, I guess, the positional naivety or inexperience there. You've got the 2 wingers not tracking back and ball watching at this point. And it's a simple pass and finish for Azuri to get back to 1-1. Pangasinan score again. It's a decent save and a quick rollout by their keeper. Kupuz, it's another bit of nice skill. She beats her player and a strong finish. They really hadn't shown that kind of skill beforehand in the other previous games, so it's nice to see them again improve. So yeah, what a back and forth game it was. Azuri had a lot more chances, I think, overall. If you go to the next picture, Azuri scored 2 real quick fire goals, but they also showed a bit of a lack of composure in front of goal. Like here with the breakaway, if they have a bit more composure, that pass across just gives a simple tap in. That makes it 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, and it kills the game off. We saw this earlier with Toloy, killed the game off against GK, and they managed to run out much higher. We squeaked past Tondo when we gave Tondo the chance to come back into the game. Here, Azuri didn't finish the game off, and it gives that chance for something wild to happen for Pangasinan. So Pangasinan's winger shows another bit of nice skill. She beats a man. It's a good shot. It hits the post. It rebounds off the keeper, and it falls to Bambia for a tap-in at the second post. And now it's 3-3. So it was such a back-and-forth game. Just so many things happened there. Azuri scored just after the buzzer had gone at halftime. So again, instead of being up at halftime, it's level at halftime, and the nerves start to set in. It was a crazy game in that way. In my opinion, Azuri have to shift their lines up. They have to play higher, force those turnovers. They also had a goal disallowed. It didn't look like to me that the ball had gone out of play, but the referee called a kick in. And if we look at the last picture, Azuri went ahead late on. It's a good pass from their pivot to release. Should be the next picture, I think. They're the previous ones. There should be one more, unless I'm missing that. No, there should be one more, unless I've missed that one. Anyways, so the Azuri went ahead late on. It's a good pass from their pivot, but Pangasinan should be marking everyone, and one pass creates the overload for 3v2. It's a good quick finish by Nono, and all Azuri have to do is hold on. But what a crazy goal to finish the game. Last 2 minutes of the game. It's a very weird one. They're sort of making the change, the substitution. They're just waiting. Azuri aren't pressing again, and that's where I think you have the difference. You've seen the substitute come in and out, and instead of pressing that and taking advantage of this 4v3, Azuri just waited. It was a crazy goal. It's chipped over to her, and she just hits it on that half volley from almost the halfway line. So that's almost 20 meters out. It just loops over the goalkeeper, and suddenly it's 4-4. It was crazy in that way. Azuri did have more chances to win it, but like I showed with one of the pictures there, it was that composure in front of goal to kill the game off, to finish the game. And it gave Pangasinan the chance to do that. They'll be buzzing. It's their first point, and against a good, favoured Azuri side. So what a crazy league.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you brought up a good point, Roy, about in the matches that we've seen, Azuri doesn't really go full throttle to try to kill the game early on. And I think when I watch them, because this Azuri squad has several players from the national team. And they also have some players from the national women's football team. We talked about Lustan, who used to be the captain of UST, the skipper of UST football before. And she's a very good player. But I just feel that when I watch Azuri play, they can go on a higher level and a higher gear because I know they're capable of doing that. For some reason, they haven't shown it yet. They show it in spurts. But a team like this should not be conceding this many goals. And they should be, I think, converting more of their chances. So I don't know what it is because I saw this team play before this tournament in Iloilo. They came to Iloilo and they just beat everybody here. All the teams here, Azuri beat all of them, and they were the top class side. I haven't seen them reach that level, honestly, throughout the league. I don't know if it's consistency or I really don't know what it is, but there is. I see them playing on second and third gear when they're very capable of going in fourth and fifth.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's I think we saw that in the Payatas versus Azuri game. Is we quickly went to a 3-0 lead, and it looked comfortable for us as if we were going to kill the game off because Azuri were so passive and so defensive. It allowed us all that space, and if Azuri win the ball in that defensive mode, they've got the entire length of the court to go before they can score, so we can recover in that time. Whereas when Azuri started to get back into the game, they score a goal, it's 3-1. Suddenly they think, oh, we can do this. And then they start to push up and they put us under pressure. That's where they had those chances and they played much more intensely. And like with this last goal against Pangasinan, they even had the advantage of 4 versus 3, but they back off and they're not pushing up higher up the pitch and forcing Pangasinan to really make a really good pass or a really good bit of skill, or then they're not forcing them to do too much to get past them. And that allows better teams to have good chances against them. And like you say, Azuri are conceding more goals than perhaps they should when you look at the squad as a result. And definitely they'll look at this as 2 points dropped.
Yeah, definitely. And they can press because they have the quality also on their bench.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see that adjustment moving forward. I know they don't like to press as high as maybe teams like Tuloy, because I saw them in Iloilo do that. But I think them taking a little bit of their foot off the throttle a bit allows other teams to come in and, well, for the case of Pangasinan, they were able to salvage a draw from the matchup. So looking forward to the improvements. So that is the end of our match day 4 recap. So if we take a look at the standings after all these matches, wow, it's still muddled up there. So by beating GK Sipag FC, Tuloy goes top of the table, tied with Payatas actually, but they're on top due to goal difference. And then we have a 3-way tie for second place. So we have Azuri, University of Makati, GK Sipag. Sadly, from first they dropped to 5th because of the goal difference from this week's match. And then lurking in 5th place, or or sixth place is Tondo with 6 points. So that this sets up massive games this coming
Yeah.
Saturday that will really determine who will likely be favored to finish top four.
Yeah, what a tight league. You've got 3 points, one win separating the top 6 teams. And at this stage of the season, with 3 games left, you've got to say those are the 6 teams with a chance to finish in the top four. But yeah, anything can happen. Toloy have got left to play Azuri and Payatas. We've got left to play Toloy as well. So there's going to be points dropped from almost every team. And everyone's got a real chance to finish in the top four.
Yeah, so the things are getting heated up. So I actually had a meeting with the referees about improving the calls, and I warned them that there will be more complaints coming up because the matches are definitely going to be heated
Yeah.
in the next few match days. So congratulations to all the teams for playing well and for overall improving, even though some lost or they didn't get the results that they wanted. So let's go to our Cara Mia girls of the game. So we have our every match, the best player of the game wins a gift certificate from Karamia. So from our first matchup, Isabella Bandoja finally showed her quality as a player, scoring 3 goals against GK Sipag FC. Then, of course, against the game between Pangasinan and Azuri, we had Lian Kate Corpus scoring or being very influential, scoring goals from the wing. Of course, Roy, I'm very impressed with this girl, Agot Danton. Like what an athlete she is, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, multi-sport. She's represented the Philippines at rugby level, and she's looking to represent the Philippines for futsal as well.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with her and how she's able to do well in the league, and her being a rugby player, right?
Yeah, represented the national team for rugby. She's looking to do the same for futsal. She was part of Team Philippines as the Street Chai World Cup. One of the best athletes I've coached, for sure.
Definitely. Then our next Karamia girl of the game, of course, is Salama. She's really the focal point of their counter-attacking style, her and Alcantara. So she scored one of the 2 goals against Dr. J. And our final girl of the game?
That's 4.
That's it. That's 4, right? So congratulations to those ladies for winning the Karamia Girl of the Game. And also for this week, we have the top 5 goals, the Amici Gusto Goal of the Week. And we'll show that right now. Okay, so to recap, our Amici Gusto Goal of the Week. For match day 1, the winner is Ella Lazo for her winning goal against Pangasinan United FC. Our winner for the Amici Gusto Goal of the Week match day 2 is Angelica Dizon. I think she scored on a breakaway here. She went through the entire opposition to score that goal. What a finish. And then our third winner is Ronalyn Ligata. I'm not sure if their last name is spelled correctly, but she was the winner of that. Amici's Gusto Goal of the Week for match day 3. And of course, for match day 4, we will be issuing the videos there. We had some glitch in terms of the names of the players, so we'll have that sorted out. And if you can check the link below, we have our candidates for the Amici match day 4. Of course, you can check the highlights of those videos on the Futsal Philippines Facebook page. So again, guys, please check these videos out. Vote for our goal of the week, and the winner will get a gift certificate care of Amici's. So, Roy, fantastic match day 4, and that sets up a really big match day tomorrow.
It really does. I mean, this match day, you've got some really good games. We'll go through the games later on, but this is where you're going to have the teams separate themselves in the league, and so it's everything to play for tomorrow.
So before we get into those match days, we actually have a special guest for this episode. But before we bring that person on board, let's hear a word from one of our sponsors.
I can't stand the rain. I smoke my hydro on the against my window. I can't stand the rain against my window. I can't stand the rain.
So it's my pleasure to bring on to this week's episode Coach Chester de Torres. Chester is a coach I know very well. I used to work with him when I was involved in the Gawad Kalinga football or Sipag, GK Sipag FC program. And now he's the guy who's running the show from the technical point of view. Chester is AFC B license coach, and he is also AFC Futsal Level 1 coach. So, Chester, welcome to the show.
Hi, Coach Kevin, Coach Roy. Thank you. Thank you for having me in the show.
Yeah, so Chester, we just went over the highlights. Rough loss, no, last
Yes,
week.
Coach. Yeah.
But how do you guys look to bounce back from that?
Right after the game, I told to the girls like, what happened is already happened, and what we need to do is to move on that game and really to get better results for the next three games that we have. So we focus on the next three games that we will have.
Yeah, and of course, it was a very different result the previous week. What do you think was the difference between you beating us as Payatas FC and Tuloy and losing 9-1 this time around?
Yeah, I think it was a very different game. Like what we showed on the game against Payatas and against Tuloy, it was really really different. I think the main point of difference is um against the Payatas, we really played with the heart, with the grit that we really wanted that win, and it's how GK play, and we show it very very good on that match day. But last weekend, it was really tough to see the girls like to like very sad for also to me, like when we already conceded a lot of goals in the second half. And yeah, I think it's really how they play, like playing with their hearts.
So, Coach Chester, you're a very young team. A lot of your players have just graduated from high school or still in high school. Um, you know, I know it when you started off the campaign, you didn't really target to win the league, but you were top of the
Yes.
table last match day. Given the results so far, what is your target for the rest of the campaign? You know, like what are your goals for this league?
Still, coach. At the very start, what we said is really to have experienced the league, because I think this is the first time for a lot of our girls to really join a proper league that we have. Like we play every weekend, and we have to plan proper trainings for them. And um, like for us with Ate Bing and I, we really focus on the development of each players. So that's what we focus on. And I think we always said like if we win a game or we will be in the top four of the league, it will be a bonus for us. And yeah, I think that's it for what we have, what we are targeting for a goal. And also, I think maybe, yeah, to have them at least try to be scouted by our national coach, Coach Vic Hermans, to at least try out for the national team.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the team, about the players? Because these are players who are the best players from different GK communities, as well as a few others who were in Inspire Raya. So they're from so many different places. How does it work? How do you get everyone together and on the same page, ready for each week?
Yeah, that was a challenge for us, like for the first 2 weeks that we have. We tried to in-house the players from Inspire Raya in Laguna. So we have they already they staying here in Mandaluyong, and the challenge for us is having a training area here in Mandaluyong because we already partnered with some schools, but due to um, due to the schools going back to 100% face-to-face classes, they put us out because of their students. Yeah, we will be bothered their students when they're in the school. So yeah, I think that's the only thing that we really need to improve right now, like our training venues. But every week, we're trying to get some um, coaches or sponsors so we can rent or at least have a free training venue here in Mandaluyong.
Coach Chester, in terms of training venues, like where do you guys like how do you prepare for a league like this? Let's say basketball court, and then because I remember I recall Coach Floyd's interview. They also have the same problem, and I think this is an issue with many communities. They want to play at this level of futsal. Uh, how do you do a training program from basketball court to 40 by 20 size field?
Um, we only take coach the smaller pictures in the game. Like for example, we don't have the width of the field, so you just need to be creative. Like when we want to like train uh what they call this, like build up from the back, instead of playing like long, we will play like the side. So just like playing, bringing up or building up from the back. So it's really for us the coaches to be creative on how do we uh, like put it in a real game. And also if we don't have like that much space or like the 40 by 20, we tend to just do tacticals, but with the um, yeah, with small picture and just trying to show them how do we run it. So when we have in the bigger area, at least we have an idea on how we play.
Yeah, there's some great stuff there about the football and the development side of things. What's really nice about GK is the community angle that you guys have, and it's one thing, you've got, for example, with myself, you've got someone from outside going into somewhere like Payatas, but for you, you've grown up within the community. You've been part of GK for so long. So please tell us more about your story, so the viewers can know. As a kid, as a child from the community and growing up, how was it, firstly as a child, and then later on, how did you get into the coaching and becoming the mentor from the mentee?
Um, Before coach, in our community, to be honest, we don't know about football or futsal before. Um, we tend to play only basketball in the streets. But I think around 2012 when we met Kuya Dennis, yeah, I think he's still one of the still in GK before, one of the full-time worker also. And he in our community he introduced us the football. So but we need to ride a tricycle going to the training venue. So what we did is asking for inside our community for the fair because I think we have 20 kids, 15 kids like that we wanted to go to the trainings, but it was quite far. So with the help of the community that we have, we they started to like pitch in some money to at least go into the trainings and going back home. Um, yeah, that's when I think I was 40 that time when I started, and when I tried the game, To be honest, and like when I watching my age on that side, like they're very good enough. It's like I cannot. I think there's no way I can be on this level on that age because I'm just new. And then I was inspired by one of the community coaches also that we have there, and I thought to myself like, what if I tried coaching? I will coach the small ones inside the community. So in Barangka Drive. So I did tell Kuya Dennis that that's my plan, and I really wanted to try it, at least try. And on those 1 year that I've tried football, and then I'm just putting that idea or that knowledge to the kids that I've known on that side. I think it was now they when I look at them now, they're one of the good players that we have in the program, and playing also with the other with our partner clubs Kaya. So it's really fun right now seeing them how I started as a coach, and now seeing them on how are they improve from what they become when I started also coaching.
So Chester, talking about, I mean, I know your story, but maybe you can share with the audience, your challenges when you started out coaching, and how were you able to overcome? No, like what were the challenges for you when you're starting out? You said, you're not really an experienced football player, and you said, okay, I wanna take up coaching. What were the challenges that you encountered, and how did you overcome it? Because right now, in my introduction to you, you have all these licenses, and you're also a certified coach, right, with coaches across continent. So this past year, I know you've been traveling around the world delivering coaching workshops for them,
Yep.
but just maybe explain those challenges, and how you're able to overcome.
Um, I think coach first is really going out on my comfort zone. That's really the number one lesson that I've learned to my mentors before, because I think if I stayed on that comfort zone, I will be not um, here going around. That's what we said, coach. Like I think if I stayed on that, it would be out. And then the challenges for me, before I was so very shy. I was super shy to like introducing myself to the players, to the kids, because yeah, as you said, coach, I don't have like much experience in playing football. But what I did best is really learning from the coaches that I met, really listening to those feedbacks that I get, how to improve more on coaching, how to improve more on handling the kids, and that's what I really like on how GK mentoring the coaches that they have, and looking back at those challenges, like if there's always a wall to stop me, it's always just telling me that keep pushing through on that wall, and try to overcome those um, yeah, challenges by just what do you call this? By just having your be you, and parang ano coach, sa sarili mo how you will beat that challenge, and it really helps me on the mentoring side. Like if I have questions on how, if I'm in the crossroads, how I can be better on that or get better decisions. And yeah, like that, coach, with the help of
As
the mentors.
That's great. I really like what you said about going outside of your comfort zone, because all learning, all improvement happens outside the comfort zone. How do you translate this with your kids, not just on the pitch, but with Goward Kalinga? Because you do so much more than football and sports alone. What are you part of as Goward Kalinga communities?
Um, oh, on that side, coach, like I always tell them, also on my coaches that I mentor, that if you're just thinking what you really want to do, and you don't you don't take a step on doing it, then what will happen? It will be just uh like you want it, but you don't do what you want, like that. So I just always push them that you try first, and then let's see what will happen. And then if we made a mistake, and then learn from the mistake, and move on that, and then just keep being better for the next day, and yeah, learn from that mistake, but don't stop, because when you stop, that's what learning stop also. You will not learn anymore.
Chester, I want to zero in. Maybe this can be last question, Roy, on mentorship, right? Because I think that's really the strength of GK's program right now, with you mentoring other coaches and mentoring your players. You have players who are now, I mean, they've signed professional contracts. The one with Kaya, right? So Julian is now on the first team. Went through you in the academy. Sian Galsim on the national team. He's now with UP Diliman, the men's team. He's their starting right back. So a lot of these players, I know they went through you. What is your secret when it comes to mentoring these players? Because I know you do a lot more than just the football side, but you mentor or mold their mentality. What are the tips that you can give coaches out there when it comes to dealing with kids of this background and making them, as you said, right? If there's a wall in front of them, just keep on trying to break through or go around it. What tips can you share with those coaches?
For me, coach, before I give really tips or mentoring them first, I really wanted to listen first to their stories. So I wanted that one. So when I give some advice, I know where they're coming from, or what are the, like, it's not putting my shoes, putting their shoes onto me, but really listening to them, and having those idea what they're going through, and then that's why are they on that wall that they don't push through. And then from their coach, I'll try to um, give advice from my mentors that I had before, who told me that maybe you can do it, you can do that, and also on my own experience, really, because for me, that's the best teacher that I have, like your own experience. And maybe it will be working on them, but at least, like, I give them some idea, but it will be their um what they call this, like, final decision at the end. But at least I give some of advice that maybe can help them, or maybe they can learn, and then it will be working on them at the end.
Fantastic, Roy. Anything?
Yeah, it's great to hear. I love what you're saying there, Chester, about first listening. First, listen to the players. A lot of coaches, a lot of teachers, a lot of parents sometimes forget to listen to see. You start with where the child is at. You start with where the player is at. You start with where the student's at. So that's great to hear from you guys. Hopefully, of course, we face each other later on in the season again in the playoffs, and then hopefully you'll be doing the TikTok dances next time. I wonder if there was a motivation aspect at that point. But no, it's great to hear because we're all coming from the same kind of backgrounds. We're all trying to really achieve the same things beyond football, beyond the sport, and what that really means in creating these young men and women growing up, really. And so, congratulations to you guys for building out that program, fleshing out that program, and as that next generation of the program who has come from that program, because that can be such a hard step to make, going from the founder, the leader, the person from outside who set it up, and then going to the person from the community. So, congratulations.
Yeah,
Okay.
congratulations, Chester. And maybe the last question is, what are you looking forward to in tomorrow's big match against Tondo?
Um, I think, Coach, I'm really looking on the because it's, as Coach Roy said, I think it's a battle again of the communities, futsal communities of like the futkal, we call it like futsal sakali before. So we started from that one in Barangka Drive, and I think also them. They called before like Caleros. I think it would be a very great match also. And then I also have two players then from Inspire. So and then I think they will meet and then it will be a good match tomorrow. I think.
Okay. Not to give too much away. So again, Chester, congratulations on all you've done. Me personally, I'm very proud of what you've accomplished and what you're currently doing now with the Gawad Kalinga program. You've made it grow further and improve even more. So I'm very happy about that. So thank you, Coach Chester, for coming onto the show and for sharing your insights and experience. So looking forward, speaking of the match between Tondo and GK tomorrow, let's take a look at our matchups for match day 5. So we have our first match is Tondo versus GK Sipag FC that kicks off at 10 a.m. And this is really a battle of two community-based programs. It's also a very key match because it will probably determine or enhance the chances for one of these teams in making the top 4. After that match, we have our second game between Payatas and the University of Makati. I think this is also going to be another good match where Payatas will definitely try to take it to UMAC, but UMAC, as we've seen in prior games, love to sit back and love to hit teams on the counter attack. So I think that's going to be a very good game because Payatas is only ahead by University of Makati theoretically by 2 points. So UMAC is going to look to try to win or get all 3 points against Payatas. Payatas will look to go or stay top of the table, hopefully by the end of the match day. And of course, we have the big one. The first afternoon kickoff will be Tuloy FC versus Azuri SC. Before the start of the season, these are really the two, I would say, pre-tournament favorites. Both teams, if you look at their roster, their roster consists of many girls who are part of the pool in the national team under Coach Vic against Guam. So let's see if Azuri can realize their potential. We had discussions later where we felt they're not on fourth or fifth gear yet, or they haven't hit full stride. And let's see if Tuloy can sustain their momentum. Then, of course, the afternoon match is also going to be very exciting because you're going to be seeing two teams who will be looking to get all 3 points, right? Pangasinan is looking to build on their impressive draw against Azuri, and Dr. J. Autoclub FC are also going to be looking for their first points in the campaign. Those are our matches for match day 5. Roy, your final thoughts on this?
Yeah, these should be some great games. It's there's a lot at stake here for these teams, and those first 3 games, they're the 6 teams who are really trying to push for the top 4 spots now. Everyone has everything to play for here, so it's going to be every single game is going to be fought well. It's going to be intense. It's everything there. And that last game between Pangasinan and Dr. J, both of them are going to be wanting to get their first win of the league, and it's their best chance to do so for both of them. So everyone's improved, everyone's getting better, and this is, I guess, the first big step for teams to create that gap in the table where they can really get a foothold on that top 4. Yep, and you've got 4 excellently well-matched games to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm setting aside my Saturday to catch all the matches. I'm going to be watching them on the live stream. So for those of you who can't go to Tuloy sa Don Bosco, the games will be streamed live here on the Futsal Philippines Facebook page. So before we wrap things up, let's hear a final word from our sponsors. Okay, so that's a wrap for this episode 5, season 3 of the Futsal Philippines show. Again, we have some very exciting matches tomorrow. Just to a quick recap: Tondo versus GK Sipag FC, which for me is technically a battle to solidify chances for a top 4 spot. Payatas versus UMAC. This is also a very key clash because UMAC will also try to maybe hopefully leapfrog Payatas, but Payatas will try to stay top of the table. And then the big one, the third one, this was circled in my calendars when the schedules were set. Tuloy versus Azuri. This is a 1 p.m. kickoff game. I know Ramon doesn't like 1 p.m. kickoffs as per his interview, but it is what it is. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Azuri can realize their potential in this match. And then, of course, the Pangasinan United versus Dr. J. Both teams would really want to get full points here. Roy, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show again with all your analysis. So far, your final thoughts on the league and what you're looking forward to match day 5 and maybe beyond.
Yeah, we've just crossed the halfway point. Everyone's got to know each other. Everyone knows everyone every week, and it's getting more and more intense each time. In a sort of friendly way as well. There's a good sort of camaraderie between everyone and the coaches. We've got a very poor quote about the gentleman's bets going on. No, we don't want to do those anymore. But
Hey,
hey,
Roy, rematch. I'm willing to put your reputation on the line with a TikTok video. So
yeah. But yeah, it's just great fun. It's great for everyone, and like we've been saying now for the last 2 weeks, especially, we're seeing the improvements with every team. And more than this season, more than winning one league, that's really what you want to get out of every team, every squad, is see the players at the start of the league and at the end of the league and see that they've all improved. So that's been great to watch. That's been great to see. And tomorrow should be another set of really intense games.
definitely. So, Roy, best of luck tomorrow. I'll be watching you guys on the live stream. And for those who want to catch the matches again, you can catch those games on Futsal Philippines Facebook page live. And we're also streaming as well on YouTube. So that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next week. And hopefully, this time, the table will clear up a little bit more in the following match day. Okay, all right. So good night, everybody. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.